was talking about, was it you and Pooley saying at this time of year, Craig, it's a big time for management to get together and it's like spitballing ideas. How does that work? Everyone sits in a room, because if I'm in the Leaf room, I'd put my hand up and say, you know what, we got to go get that Josh Anderson from Columbus. I like him. He's a big, strong guy. He can play with Austin Matthews. Well, how does it work? Does it work like that?
Absolutely, it works like that, Jeff. And so there's two parts to it. So what Kyle and his management group have to do is they got to talk to every single manager in the league. They have to know what every manager is thinking. Like, what are you upset about? Who don't you like?
Right.
You know, and that's and to me, that goes right up until June 1st, whatever the next, to that point. And you better know what's available. And
so in one single day, you got to call all the other GMs.
Over the period of time. It could be like, you give it 2 weeks, like whatever, you go through the Marlies, and now we're going to have meetings beginning on June 1st, let's just say. And now we're going to bring everybody in, and you say we want Josh Anderson. So you're going to drop hey, Yarmo, don't know if you're interested in Josh Anderson, but if you are interested in dealing him, keep me in mind.
Right.
Right? And that's what you got to do. And then you go, well, you know what? Maybe I'd be thinking about it, but would you ever think about trading, Mitch Marner?
Well,
but I'm just saying. But you have to know, because everybody's disappointed this time of the year.
Right.
Right?
Does anyone Does anyone admit? Like, if you call up a guy and you say, are you thinking? Do they say, yeah, I am thinking, actually? Does that ever happen?
Yeah,
you show your cards?
Sure it does. Sure does.
Because I wouldn't say. I would say, I'd hang up the phone and say, I actually was thinking that, but I'm never telling anybody.
I'd push back and be like, well, what about your guys? You tell me first.
Well, no, but I'll give you an example. We traded Derek Morris in Calgary. So we weren't looking to trade Derek Morris, but his name comes up, and I said, I'd listen to Derek Morris, but here's exactly what I want. Oh, we can't do that. I said, okay, fine, no problem. Then we're not trying. But it's a back and forth. You can't just say, they can't ask you when you say, I'd be willing to do that, but here's what it would take. Right? And that's what it is. And sometimes managers phone up and they make a stupid proposal, and I'm sure I made stupid proposals, but what you got to do is understand what's out there. And then, Jeff, to your point, now you come in, okay. What can we do? What do you think of this guy? Okay, we can't get Josh Anderson. Who's another player like that we could get?
And
things like that.
You put lists together, right?
And then you come into the meeting with all the options there, so that now you can debate it and talk about it. And
we had Jamie said there might be 6 or 7 player, like the roster of the Toronto Maple Leafs. How different could you see it looking next year?
I think there'll be 6 or 7 different bodies on that roster moved around. Now, that includes a backup goaltender.
Yeah.
So maybe 6. But, and I just think it's the reshuffling potentially of the bottom of that roster. The GOAT, Connor Brown, maybe potentially because of financial reasons, and even their defensive core, because we don't know. Hainsey's unrestricted, Gardner's unrestricted, Ozhiganov's gone, so you're going to have to fill that hole. So, realistically, I thought there's at least 6 bodies, and a 7th would be a backup goaltender. That could be different on the Leafs. Am I wrong?
No, I think that's a good number. I think that, you're not looking to add to your top end, right? But you're looking and trying to understand what it's going to cost to sign Kapanen and Johnson, right? And, you're going to talk to Gardner and see, is there any possibility of him coming back? And he might just say, listen, it's time for me to move on. You know how it works. Sometimes a player just says, you know what? It's time for me to leave, right?
Yeah.
Or you know what, my agent tells me there's just too much money out there, and you can't. And now you can proceed in your other areas. But I absolutely think, I brought it up today too on Leafs Lunch. I think one player that's playing for the Marlies that doesn't get talked enough about that's going to play for the Leafs is Mason Marchment. I think Mason Marchment adds something that they really can use.
Is that Brian Marchment's son?
It is. An edgy, smart, in your face, understand what needs to happen at any moment in time of a game, and make an impact in that part of the lineup. Mm-hmm. But I never, when I go and watch him, he scored 2 goals last night in the clinching game. I just every time I see his skating's improved, his strength is improved. And like that type of a player, I think, Jeff. So you might not get Josh Anderson, but those types. Like Korshkov's a big, strong young player,
right?
And they got he was the 31st pick. They got plans for him, right? They want him. He's played in the KHL. They want him to come in and make an impact in the lineup in that area. So you don't need Marner. You don't need Marner, Nylander, Matthews, those types.
But you need a heavier presence.
Well, I think that's what they want.
We've been raving about Tyler Bertuzzi, guys like that who bite but have some game and kind of in your face. That's kind of what would, I believe anyways, would help turn the perception of the Leafs around, because yeah, they've got skill. But I think when you look at the bottom of their roster, the bite isn't there with the skill. It's just skill and not a lot of pushback. If you have players like that, now all of a sudden your team looks like you can push back against the Bostons and Columbuses and.
Well, you got to push people out though at the same time.
Correct.
I mean, that's
Correct.
the thing. When you start looking at all the numbers, let's say Marchman's an option. Trevor Moore, I believe, will be on the team.
Yeah.
You bring Korshkov over. He may play, he may not. This other kid, Mikheyev, I would assume there may have been a little handshake there. Like, you got a real opportunity at making the team. All of a sudden, you've got 4 or 5 guys.
But you got to create holes for them.
Patrick Marleau can't be an option if these guys are all playing. Like, Connor Brown can't still be here. Frederick Gauthier, where are they going to play?
How do you see the Marleau situation playing out? Is it just like you have to respect the contract and every opportunity, and whether it's good or bad, you're going to ignore the performance?
Yeah, I don't think you can ignore the performance. I really don't. But when you attracted Patrick Marleau here, right?
Oh, you promised the world. Like you gave him everything.
You did, and so you got to respect that. Like unless he's a complete disaster, and he isn't, right? Like I'm talking about off the ice, he's not, right? It's a tricky situation for the Toronto Maple Leafs because how you treat players and everything, and it's an easy thing to say, oh, just get rid of Patrick Marleau, or just Patrick Marleau might not want to go anywhere. Patrick Marleau might have said, I made a commitment to come here for 3 years. And, where is that going to be? And it's nice to just say, oh, you were going to trade you. But Patrick Marleau holds every single card in this. And the Toronto Maple Leafs, I always say that you got to be careful because, as you know, the players all talk. You want to start mistreating players or, just discarding them because it doesn't work for you anymore.
They've done a lot of that in the past few years. It's like Lupul and all the company where they had to get rid of guys. It was Robidas Island, and you don't want to have a...
Well, there's no Robidas Island for Patrick Marleau because, number one, he's got an over 35-year-old contract,
Right.
And, doesn't seem to have any long-term injury. So unless they want to go and try to go down,
Yeah, I think you'd have to. You got to broker a trade, and you got to let him. You got to make sure that he accepts it, and that's the only way out of it. I see.
But there's only one way to make a trade of Patrick Marleau. He has to be fully involved.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You got to go to him, be honest, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being honest. That doesn't mean you're throwing him out.
No, you're right, Brian.
And if you go to him and say, "Listen, I'm telling you right now, we're committed to you, but I can't guarantee you're even playing every night."
That's okay.
He's still a pro. But you
agree.
could say we have a trade here where you will play.
I don't think the issue is so much telling him he won't play every night. The issue is it's still $6.25 million cap hit.
Big time.
That you can't get out from under.
Yeah. And if you've got moving parts or
big.
potentially.
Well,
It is
they're going to
big.
need that money.
And I don't think, I mean, my own opinion and I don't want to speak for Patrick. I don't think Patrick is just about, I'm just going to go play somewhere. So I think if somebody said to him, listen, we can trade you here and you'll play or you'll sit out here, I don't think Patrick's going to be going, oh, I better go there or I won't be playing.
Right.
I don't think he's at that point in his career.
Contend somewhere anyway. Likely here in Toronto. I mean, he made the 3-year commitment.